Welcome, everybody, to the use of notes to file. I am Gary Freeman, and I have over 30 years' experience in the clinical industry, having worked both in the drug and device areas for pharmaceutical companies, device companies, and CROs. I'm currently operating a niche provider company. My group provides monitoring and auditing services to the industry. In this regard, I personally get to use and see a lot of notes to file that have been written by the site personnel as well as by sponsors. Site personnel as well as sponsors. Some of them add value to the project, others do not. Some are detrimental to the project because they might not be complete. They might not even be truthful. They might not be signed, and we have no idea who put them in the file or when they were put in the file. So we're going to look at the proper use of these notes to file. You might call them memos to file, letters to file, any of those. They can be electronic, they can be paper. But they all are going to become essential documents. That's the critical piece we need to learn from today. They're all essential documents. They're all auditable by regulatory authorities. And they tell the story, or add to the story, of how the study is being managed. At the end of the session, I hope that you can make better decisions as to when and how to use these notes to file appropriately. That's the big issue. When and how do we want to use them? So remember that the notes to file, whether they be used by sites or by sponsors, end up being a sponsor dilemma if there's an issue with them. It's not telling the true story, perhaps. And then we don't have supporting evidence, which would be used in our marketing approval application. So there are a number of warning letters available referencing notes to file during inspections, and many of them do not support the documentation that the agencies are looking for. So part of our learning objective today is to discuss the current overuse or the misuse of notes to file. And we're going to be using a particular FDA warning letter that will highlight those deficiencies for us. We will identify what is an appropriate note to file, whether it be patient or subject specific, or if it's not patient specific. Either way, we'll learn to write an effective note to file when it is applicable. And again, we're going to reference industry tools such as the warning letter that will relate to the notes to file to show that they really are used as an essential document. A lot of faith is put into the note to file by any reviewer, and hopefully by your management as well. So the use of notes to file in the clinical trial. As an introduction, as I mentioned, we could call them notes to file, we can call them memos to file, letters to file. These are going to be in both the sponsor and the investigator files. And the content of them, as I said, many times does not serve its purpose, or it actually serves no purpose. We see nothing. Why did we bother to have that? It didn't tell anything at all. Why were we stuffing our file with notes that were perhaps misleading, or just telling the obvious? And we'll have examples. One that we're going to use several times today because it is a classic. It's a little older, but it's still very truthful, and it points out many of the issues in one letter, which is why we're continuing to use this particular one from a Dr. Lawrence. It is handout number 1, and so I'll just flash that one up for you. These are all available to you on the FDA website, fda.gov. And we just arbitrarily pulled this one up a while back, and we like to use this one because, again, it has many issues in it within the same one, so it makes it easier for you as a reference, and it's still very applicable for everyone. If we look here, you'll see that the standard format for a warning letter is that once the investigation has happened, FDA has come to the site, they've done their investigation, and they've cited this investigator for issues. Okay. He responded to those issues, and they did not like those responses. They would then issue a warning letter, which will highlight what the original problem was, what his response had been, and why that's not acceptable. So this is a good learning curve for you. What I've done is I've summarized those findings that you would see. I'll just flash through here to get you into one of the pages where we'll have one. Here it is. You failed to ensure that subjects met all protocol required eligibility requirements, as an example. They're going to go through and they're going to tell exactly what was it that was the problem. Get you a little more familiar with what a warning letter would look like. You can see that they're highlighting all of the issues that they'd seen. And then in your written response, you stated, so they're telling what the response had been to those findings.